Asian Serving Institutions, Higher Education Institutional Type Presentation by Lisa Grimes, Alyssa Holmes, Megan Newstead, Marla Nichols, and Brittany Pierce. The Asian American and Pacific Islander students were the last minority group to be incorporated into the umbrella of minority serving institutions. This was largely because these students were classified as the model minority and were seen as high achievers in academics and didn't need assistance because of this. Ultimately, there was a lack of knowledge about these communities, which is what led to the passing of two influential laws. The first was the College Cost Reduction and Access Act, passed in 2007. With this law, a federal designation for AAPI serving institutions was defined and created. To qualify, institutions had to have a population of at least 10% Asian American Pacific Islander students, and at least half of these students needed significant financial assistance. As a result of this law, funding was given to institutions that matched this definition. The Higher Education Opportunity Act furthered access to AAPI institutions and their ability to serve students with the increase in the eligible programs that grants for AAPI serving institutions could fund. Asian American Native Pacific Islander serving institutions were included in Title III of the Higher Education Act and became part of minority serving institutions. The population that is served by Asian American Native Pacific Islanders serving institutions is constantly growing, so much so that the population is presumed to double by 2050. It is important to note that no one student served by these institutions is the same. The Asian American Pacific Islander student population is made up of over 48 ethnicities, and 300 different languages are spoken by these students, not to mention the varying cultural, religious, and historical backgrounds each of these students come from. The most common location for these institutions are in areas with a high concentration of Asian American Pacific Islander students. The most populated areas are Washington, California, Hawaii, and New York, among others. Student affairs professionals play an important role in supporting AAPI students, and there are a variety of challenges that this population may face. For example, studies have shown that AAPI students in particular are reluctant to seek out campus resources such as academic tutoring, mental health counseling, and career services. This is likely attributed to the model minority myth, which is a stereotype that assumes AAPI students are all academically high-achieving individuals that do not face traditional struggles that members of other minority racial groups may face, such as racism and discrimination. Growing up with these stereotypes may make AAPI students less likely to seek out support services on their own. Many AAPI students enrolling in AANAPISIs are also first-generation students and/or low-income students, and many may be immigrants themselves or children of immigrants. English proficiency is often a struggle as well. In 2008, only 44.7% of U.S.-born AAPI individuals reported English as their primary language. Overall, this population of students is underserved in higher education, but it is also extremely diverse, with many subpopulations that have varying needs and challenges. Student affairs professionals then have the responsibility to acknowledge that AAPI students face a unique set of challenges. Part of this acknowledgement should be actively working to debunk the model minority myth by supporting these students through all of the challenges they face, rather than assuming they are above discrimination. Retention issues are particularly significant for AAPI students as well, particularly for low-income students, so student affairs professionals must be prepared to implement and support retention-building efforts. Along with that, they must be prepared to refer AAPI students to the proper resources on campus and help students themselves work against the model minority myth. Finally, research has shown that AAPI students feel many curricular and co-curricular activities lack cultural relevance for them, which negatively impacts retention and engagement. Therefore, student affairs professionals at AANAPISIs should make it their goal to create more culturally significant opportunities for AAPI students to engage in through things like cultural centers, learning interest communities, and more. As stated in the text, this institution has impacted AAPI students by utilizing funding and creating leadership and research opportunities and enhanced academic courses, and to support economically disadvantaged students in their college success. The higher education institutions that are listed as being part of the AANAPISIs include UCLA Asian American Study Center, CUNY Asian America Asian Research Institute, NYU Center for the Study of Asian American Health, Queens College Asian American Center, and UMass Boston Institute for Asian American Studies. The AANAPISI program supports the following initiatives in schools that are included in the AANAPISIS. Increasing student retention and progression through college-level courses by re-engineering student support services and supplemental instruction and providing enhanced faculty professional development of a summer bridge program to bridge the gap between 2-year and 4-year colleges and universities, strengthening assessment and integrating academic advising, academic support, and academic enrichment under a new center. Developing faculty development, including workshops in high-impact pedagogies, technology, and instructional methods for teaching underprepared students, developing an endowment fund to meet ongoing costs for maintenance and upgrades to technology, development of smart classrooms, and improvement and technological enhancements to classrooms. As mentioned earlier, the AAPI population is one of the fastest growing populations in the U.S., and it is expected to hit 50 million by 2060. Around 43% of AAPI students attended an AANAPISI, which means that the number of institutions who are eligible for AANAPISI funding may grow over the next few decades. AANAPIs in general are expected to have increased awareness in higher education as well. A new organization called the AAPI Association for Colleges and Universities was recently established to support the work of AANAPISIs and promote communication between the different campuses as well as other minority-serving institutions. Moving forward, this collaboration between AANAPISIs and other MSIs will really help to strengthen the MSI program as a whole. Here is a table from the U.S. Department of Education website of types of projects that AANAPIs may focus on. This is just an example of some things these types of institutions are currently doing, as well as hope to do moving forward to better support AAPI students. Currently, there are 123 AAPI serving institutions in the United States, according to the Penn Center for MSIs. These institutions may differ from the federal list of institutions recognized as AANAPISIs or those receiving AANAPISI grant funding. The University of Minnesota is an institution that has received an AANAPISI grant. They recently reached the 10% mark of AAPI enrollment, making them eligible. Their grant supported the creation of the Asian Pacific American Resources Center, which supports students academically and socially through their time at the institution. This includes a dedicated space on campus, academic support services, and a peer mentoring group. They also host a day-long annual AAPI Youth Summit for students on campus. Bunker Hill Community College, a community college in Massachusetts, has seen growth in their AAPI population. While their official institutional data cites 11% AAPI enrollment, they have released figures showing 15% AAPI enrollment. As part of an AANAPISI grant, They have reformatted their English learning instruction to allow for students to progress through the curriculum more quickly. They have also launched the Center for Equity and Cultural Wealth, which is a faculty-minded initiative that supports culturally responsive and equitable teaching and research opportunities. The University of Hawaii at Hilo is the most diverse institution in the United States, according to the Chronicle of Higher Education. With an AAPI student population of 28%, the university has committed significant resources to supporting Pacific Islander students, both through an AANAPISI grant and through campus programming. Their grant committed resources to supporting the academic achievement of Pacific Islander students. Their Pacific Islander Student Center is committed to supporting students through a physical space to gather on campus, programming, and a digital storytelling project. There is limited research on Asian serving institutions and the specific initiatives, approaches, and outcomes for students enrolled at these institutions. Additionally, the newness of Asian American and Native American Pacific Islander serving institutions designation means that research into the role and impact of this designation and the corresponding funding is still developing. The National Commission on Asian American and Pacific Islander Research in Education, or CARE, housed at UCLA, has generated significant research into the experiences of Asian American and Pacific Islander students. CARE is committed to generating and utilizing data-informed research to inform education policy. Their research briefs and reports cover topics including the racial climate on campus and the importance of minority-serving institution funding on student services. Another space where research is happening is through the Penn Center for Minority-Serving Institutions, and specifically supporting researchers like Dr. Samuel D. Mucius. In his collaborative research report titled How Asian American and Native American Pacific Islander Serving Institutions Are Creating the Conditions for Students to Thrive, Dr. Mucius outlines how specific institutions receiving AANAPISI funding create a space that supports and empowers Asian American and Pacific Island students. Discussion questions. 1. Why do you think it took so long for the AANAPISI designation to be developed and grant funding to be established at the federal level? 2. How can AAPI serving institutions navigate the unique challenges of serving students with a broad range of identities and backgrounds? 3. How can student affairs professionals and AAPI students work to debunk the model minority myth?